So, firstly, I will start from this logo here. I'll start from this logo. Um, Normally, your shape should be centered
Okay.
into your rectangle. It's to show out like this. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Okay.
Yes. So it's either you make this rectangle big. You can see that I can't even like click on the rectangle unless I bring it out, which is not meant to be so. So it's either you reduce this text size or you make the rectangle big and centralize it like this. Do you get that? All right, so for this nice, for the image icon, this is nice. Then same thing goes with this as well. This is like you can just reduce the text size or you increase the rectangle. Also, in a design, your fill button should come first before you. Okay, there are two fills, but I guess this is like the button that has the primary color since it's like deep. So your fill button should come first, and also, okay, I guess you reduce the opacity for this. Okay, this is cool, but this should come first. This one, this black one, if that is your primary color, like that's the button with your primary color, it should come first.
Yes.
Then the second one can either be stroke or maybe reduce the opacity, because
Yes.
two you cannot have two you cannot have two buttons that are the same, like they have the same color, the same everything. So you cannot have two buttons that are the same. Then okay, I think that is all for this. This is just a sketch. This is cool. All right, so for this, firstly, your eclipse is distorted. I mentioned it in the class that your eclipse should have, that is your circle, it should have the same width and the same height. Hope you can still hear me. Oh, it has even left. Okay, it's me, you're back, right?
Yes.
All right. All right, so at what point did you leave? Because I didn't even notice you've left the meeting.
I left when you said the first frame is okay, and you moved to the second. Then I noticed I got disconnected.
All right. Okay, so for this second frame, the first thing is I'll talk about is your ellipse here, which is your circle. Like I said, your ellipse, your circle should have the same width and the same height. But if it doesn't, that means it is distorted. Like it is not like a very structured circle. So with this, it is distorted. So when you are trying to draw your ellipse, always make sure that you hold down your shifts and you draw. That will make you have a nice structured circle like this. Just hold down your shift and draw. You can see that the width and the height, they are the same thing. So what you
Okay.
can just do here is come to this circle, then come to your layer properties panel here and change the height, or maybe it's the width you want to change or the height. Just make sure that it's the same thing. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right. So for these two, make sure that your right subs, they are in the center. They're centralized. So to do that, just come here to your properties panel here and click on centralize. So your work is going to be centralized. Or you just keep moving and you see like a line that shows that it's in the middle of the frame already. So
Okay.
same thing for this as well.
Okay.
Then work on your buttons. So like I said, for this, you work on the
Uh,
buttons, reduce this text size, or you increase. It's even better to reduce the text size. Just reduce the text size.
okay.
All right, so I think same goes with this circle as well, this ellipse. Then these two should be centralized. Okay, I think that's basically it. Yeah, so this is not in the group. And also your vectors, they are showing that they are in on the group where they are in your frame, but they're actually not in your frame. You can see your layers panel here. This is your frame, but this first group is not in. This icon is not there. This vector is not there. So I mentioned that in the class that sometimes your elements will look as if they are in your frame, but actually they are not in your frame. So that's why you have to keep checking your layers panel whenever you're working. So for this, just click on I like the three and drag into your frame here. So they're already in your frame now. So you can
Uh,
do that. Yes, so always check your layers panel whenever you're working. All right, so I guess you're not done with the toggle button yet.
no, no, no.
All right. So same thing goes with this. Work with this the circle. All right, nice work. Nice work so far. It's actually nice.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So okay. All right. So do you have any challenges when you're working on this toggle? Or do you have any question you might want to ask?
Yes.
All right. I'm listening.
Um, when I was trying to make the logo, that's for the first frame.
Okay.
It was because I never got how I could adjust the weight for the text. That was why I had the text overshadowing the
Okay.
yes. So, but when I got to the toggle button, that was when I found out how I could do the adjustments.
Okay. So are you
Then,
cool with that, or do you want me to
yeah, I'm
talk on it?
cool. You did
Okay.
it just right.
All
Also,
right.
if Zoom, like let's say I'm working on this logo now, which you told me to correct, and I want to zoom to have a proper view. How do I do that?
Okay, you want to zoom in?
Yes.
Okay, your trackpad. Can't you zoom in on your trackpad, like your laptop, on the mouse settings, like the trackpad?
Is it? I'm gonna right click or left click, then drag. Or how do I go about
Just
it?
like use your two fingers, your second and third fingers to just like zoom in. Or is it that your system can't do that?
I guess my system can't do.
Or okay, just go to your settings. Let me quickly share my screen so you see where to go to. All right, so just go to your settings.
Okay.
Then you click on your device. You see devices. Then you see the touchpad. So if your system can do that, you see these tabs. That is your touchpad. You see the tabs. That is tap twice to right click. Then to scroll and zoom, use two fingers to scroll. And you can also use two fingers to zoom. So if your system has these settings, that means it can do it. Then this is how you do it. So you just use your two fingers to just zoom as if you're expanding. How can I explain this? Just try and check if your system has this.
No, no, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Oh, it doesn't. Okay. So I guess yours can't. I guess it can't right now. Okay. All right. So what you can do concerning that is you use this. All right. So what you can do about that is you use this zoom button here, or
It
there's
was
actually a
the
this
Zoom
part.
bot.
Yes, there's zoom in and zoom out, zoom
Yes,
to
that was
fit. So just use Control plus plus till you get to where you want it
okay.
to be, or Control plus minus.
All
So
right
this is
then.
zoom to fit. This is zooming. You keep zooming until yeah, okay. Do you get that now?
Yes, thank you.
All right. So I believe by tomorrow we should be done with the toggle button and the radio button, right?
Yes, yes.
All right. So let's just get right to the class since we've waited enough. So like I said, today is going to be for theory parts, and Sundays will always be for our practicals. So tomorrow I want us to start designing a landing page, even if it's just a real section by tomorrow. Then then possibly over the weekend I'll just give a video on how to actually design a landing page. So okay, so let me quickly check since Mojola is here. Let me quickly check his um um part two. Please Mojola, are you MA?
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Um, cool. All right, so for this button, I'll start from this button. From this button, is it that you reduce the opacity, or this is like fill? Is this saying that you are reducing the opacity, or you are making this white and you're making this blue and white?
I'm making the blue and white.
Actually, you cannot have two fill buttons. Even if you're having two fill buttons, it's either you reduce the opacity of this blue.
Okay.
So what you can just do is reduce the opacity of the blue, then just make it like 20%. It's either you make it like this or you make it stroke. So you cannot have two fill buttons actually.
Okay.
So okay, I think that's it for that. So it's either you make this one, you reduce the opacity for this, or you make it stroke. Then the stroke is going to have the color of your primary color, which is this blue. Then, all right. Then this is out of your this is already outside of your this is already outside of your
Design.
frame, your rectangle, your shape, which is not meant to be so. So whatever elements that you're having in another element, like superposition, the element and principle of superposition, always make sure that it is inside your frame, your rectangle, or whatever. Like when we have elements in our frame. So imagine having elements outside your frame. So always make sure that we are all any elements that we have, there are sometimes that we have to use two elements together. So always make sure that the one inside should be inside. It should not be outside. The one that is meant for to be inside should be inside. The one that is meant for outside should be there. Then also, I think that is for that. I think that is cool with that. Then drag this down to make it well structured. Okay, so that is set. Okay, this is this a shape, or what is this for?
This is for logo. I just put it for logo so that I'll place the logo inside.
All right, so it's better you just indicate
Mm.
what it is for, because this now I just think is just like a regular shape. All right, so for this two, okay, not bad, but your lines they are not straight. You can see in this rotation settings here that is minus is not zero, and it's meant to be zero. So your line is not straight. So if
Okay.
it's zero, now cool, now it's straight. So your lines are not straight. Work with that. I think same thing to applies with this. So
Yeah.
just make sure it is well labeled. Also, okay, this is your fill. Also, try and group these two together. Put it in a group because they are like elements of they have similar informations. They are both form fields. So with that, you have to like group it to make it one entity. Okay, so I think same thing with this. Try and group these two. All right, this is not bad. All right, this is not bad. Okay, so I think that's basically it. That's this. Then your alignment, always make sure that your elements they're aligned. Though we still talk about that too. But for this, is they are the same thing, like they have the same informations. Just make sure that they are well aligned. Same goes with this. Yeah, make sure they are well aligned. Okay. Okay, so I think that's then okay, let me check the toggle button. Also for your toggle button here, this is like a dark color on a dark color. This text right, this text right here, it's like a dark color on a dark color. So try and adjust that. We have light color on dark colors, and we have dark colors on light colors. So let me review this. Okay, your off is not coming back. All right, so your off is not coming back.
Mm.
Then also for this off, let me see the prototype. Oh, this is actually meant to be instant. There should be no interaction with your toggle button. It's meant to be like when you click on it, move to it straight. So that's why you're having like this. Like
Okay.
I hope you can see what I'm saying. Like when you click
Amazing.
on it, it's showing like the off already. So when you make it instant, all right. So okay. Last week I said you're not meant to prototype the button, like the all toggle button. You're meant to prototype what you want to click. And this is this. That's why I was clicking on it and it's not. I'm sure I wondering that why is it not working? Okay, and it's not even working at all. So unclick, refresh. Present again. Oh, it's not even working again at all. All right, so like I was saying, you don't prototype the whole frame, or should I say components. What you only need is you have to prototype what you want to click. And doing this, we want to click this button to change to the off. So now clicking on this, that means if I even click on to work, but I meant to click on the button. So you should make your correction with that. Then also make your off go back to off. Please, am I still audible? Because it seems my
Yes.
network is misbehaving. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So please make your corrections with that. I don't know why this is not even clicking again, but it should work. I don't know why it's not working. And this should work. Okay, it's did. All right, so please work on that. Okay, so for your components, um, let me pick. Okay, I think this is an image. Let me pick this and drop here. Okay, how did you do these components? Oh, are you not done?
I'm not done with it. I'm still working on
Oh,
it.
all right. So based on what you've done here, you don't have any business this with this option changing to A or B. What you only do the prototype on is just the circle here that we want to click. So this is the only thing we're going to do prototype on. We don't have problem with this one. We don't have to do this. Or should I just come again on this this radio button
You want to do it?
to just do like a quick recap on it?
Okay.
Rotimi, are you in for that for like just 5 minutes before we go into today's work? Rotimi, can you hear me? Okay. All right. So, Mujala, is that fine by you?
It's okay by me.
Okay. So let me quickly go to my frame. All right. So actually, for these radio buttons, we have two ways in which we can do it. We have two ways. The first one is to just for a radio button. This is the example we did last week. So let's just work with this. So the first thing is that we are going to what we want to interact with is this button here, this particular button. So we want it to be in a way that when we click on these buttons, it's going to change. So not that when we click on the options, it's going to change, just these buttons. So this is like the second way in which you can do that. So we draw our ellipse like we know. We draw our ellipse, then duplicate. So I'll reduce this a bit. Then make the stroke and make those fill. So I'll group, let me reduce this. So this would be, okay, is this in the center? Perfect. All right, so I'll group this together. Then I'll duplicate this and remove this fill. So this would be for when the option is not picked, and this would be for when it is picked. So the next thing we'll do is to make this a frame selection. So you make this a frame, click on frame selection, make this a frame as well. Then after we are done with that, we highlight the boats and click on our create component settings to create a component set. So this is our component set. So now we make our prototype with this, that when we click on this, we want it to change to this. So go to the prototype settings, which is here. Then drag, go to your connecting dots and drag on click. Want it to be when we click, we want it to change to this. Same thing with this second one. When we want to click on this, to change back to this. So when we are done with the prototype, we come to write out our options. This is option. This is option A. Then let me reduce this regular. This is so okay. So this is option A. Then we bring out our defaults. That is the first thing. What we want our users to see. That is the first thing we want them to see. And obviously we cannot make a radio button. We cannot make everything clicked. So it's going to show like it is not clicked. So we drag this out. That is the defaults. You drag out the components and you group together. So after you are done with that, you change this. Mind you, this should be in a frame. Sorry, I should have picked the frame earlier. So let me just pick one frame. Bring this in. Then I'll bring these options in here. So this will be option B. Then this will be option C. Then D. So when we are done with this, make sure that they have, let's make sure that they are well okay. Um, So I group everything together. Alignments. So they're well aligned. So I group everything together. So now when I click, make sure that you have to make sure that the components, this particular button, the radio button you picked, make sure that it is like a parent, like a child component. This is the parent component, this is the child component. And by indicating that, you are going to see like a this in your layers panel, you see this polygon shape there. So that means you copied it from a component. So that will make you know that, because there are sometimes that you would think you picked the component, but getting back to in your getting back, like moving it to your frame, it's going to change to a normal shape. So that's why you always have to work with your layers panel. So you have to make sure that the components you picked, the circle you pick, is actually a child component to what you did. So just present this. Let's present this. All right. So we can see clicking on this now, it is changing. So note that when I click on the option, it's changing. You can see that it's showing this blue field. That is, these are the only place that are clickable. The rest, you can't click on the rest. That is what is showing. So when I click on this and I unclick, you can see that now. So is that fine? Is that explanatory enough?
Yes, it is.
Yes,
All
yes.
right. Okay. All right. So any question? Is there any question before we move to the today's class?
I don't have a question.
Okay. All right. So let's just move right to today's class. Okay. All right. So last week we've been talking about user interface, user experience rather. We've been talking about user experience, how to conduct a well put user research. Basically, what user experience entails, how to conduct a research, how to come up with problem statements and solutions. So today we are going to move to UI interface, that is the UI design, so that it will help us, since we already know how to come up with our research and all, then to design now. We want to go into how to design, how to make our user interface nice. So firstly, like I've been saying, UI interface basically means the visual the visual design, that is what your users see, the representation of the solution that you come up with. So basically, user interface design is the aesthetic design of all visual elements, how attractive your design is. It is a process of creating visually appealing, that is the aesthetic part, intuitive and functional interface for digital products. That is, the visually appealing means it should be attractive, the intuitive means it should be interactive, and the functional interface means that it should be functional. Your design should not only be attractive, but it should also be functional. Clicking on elements or buttons that are meant to be clickable should be able to take you to what it should take you to. The reason why you are designing, why you're coming up with the product, it should serve the purpose. It should solve the problem you're trying to solve. That is the functional part. Such as, then we have this UI examples, that is UI interface examples. We have websites, we have mobile applications, we have software applications. So all these are examples of UI designs. Then UI focuses on enhancing the user experience. Both UX and UI design, what they are focused on is the user, on how to enhance the user experience in a positive way. So sorry about that. Sorry. All right. So as I was saying, your UI issue, both the UI and UX are all focused on enhancing the user experience positive way. So now UI design focus on enhancing the user experience by carefully considering the visual elements, that's the aesthetic part, what they see, then the interactive components, what the users interact with, like the buttons, links, the screen that they interact with, and also the overall aesthetic of the user interface. Now, the goal of every UI design is to create product that is both aesthetically pleasing and easy to interact with. So now, whatever product that we are coming up with, it has to like create a pleasant experience. It has to be visually appealing to them. It has to be easy to use, easy to interact, and functional as well. Because for a user, their first impression interacting with your design or your product will determine maybe they are going to come back to it or refer people to use it. So that's basically what UI interface design is. Then, like I said earlier in our first class, we have types of UI design. We have the graphical interface design, we have the voice controlled interface, and we have gesture based interface. So I guess we still remember that graphical is what we see, the screens, then voice controlled, that we interact with voice. Then the gesture based is designed or interface that we interact with our body motion. So now moving on with that, we have these elements. There are some elements that we combine together to create our design. There are some elements. We have design element that we compile everything together to make an interface, to make a well nice interface. So now this design elements, our actions, we used to present informations and also enhance visual appeal of an interface. So the shapes you see, the images we use, the icons, the buttons, the colors, the typography, everything, they're all design elements. They're all things that we put together to create interface that is nice or easy to interact with, or functional interaction. Because seeing a button, you'll be able to know that this is a button. I'm meant to click this, and present information in the typography aspects. Then also to enhance the visual appeal, we can talk about the image aspect here or the color aspect here. So now these UI elements, they provide a sense of familiarities for user while helping them to understand and navigate through an interface. So these elements, there are sometimes you see an icon without a label. There are some icons or there are some elements that we as users we are familiar with. So for example, when I see a profile icon, even like without putting a writing there, we'll be able to know that okay, this is a profile icon. Same things with settings. You know that okay, this is a settings icon, even without seeing any text there or write up. So this element they help to like provide sense of priorities to users. Now, what are these design elements? Let's talk about some of them. Now, the first thing that we've been working with is lines. Starting from designing our interface, our wireframe rather, we've been working with lines. Now, lines are one of the basic elements of design, and to draw a line, you have like 2 points or 2 dots connecting together. So, and these lines they can evoke many moods based on their section and how they look. We have different lines. We have different lines. We have like a straight line, a structured line. have broken lines, we have rough lines, we have thick, we have curvy lines, we have different lines. We have different lines. They can be smooth, they can be rough, depending on texture as well. So now their look and based on their weight. There are some lines that we know they are very thick. Talking about our strokes, when we are trying to customize our stroke or increase our stroke, we can see that there are some lines that are thick, there are some lines that are rough, there are some that are broken, like dots, there are some that are like dashed lines. So based on what it depends on what you are trying to pass across. Then, for example, when a straight line is like a more balanced and structured line, structured one, and a curving line is like an artistic part that says maybe you want to do an illustration or you want to draw any element or any shape or anything. That is when we use like curving lines. So, like I said, there are different types of lines. We have vertical lines, we have horizontal lines, and we have curved lines. And the lines can be smooth, it can be rough, like I've said earlier, it can be thick, it can be thin, and all. So that's the ball line. Then the second one is color. Now, color is one of the important elements that we have to consider, that you have to be careful about when you're trying to design, because the attractive parts, majorly 80% of the attractive parts is on the color. So when you use a bad color or use a bad combination of color, it's going to make your interface non-attractive, unattractive. So colors give a certain feeling and personality to your design, and it can be applied to any other visual elements, because the color that you use in your design matters a lot. And I used to people that whenever you want to start a design, you want to start creating products, always make sure that you research on your color. Always make sure that you research on your color, because colors, they have different meanings. Colors, they have different meanings. For example, we know blue is like for a serene environment. When you want to design something that is like very nice, very cool, serene, like an hospital website, you can use blue. Like in an e-learning website, you can use blue for something very serene. Now imagine using blue for farming. It doesn't like sound well. Or using blue for um what's that okay. Let me think of a product that doesn't go with blue again. um Okay, I'll try and get back to that. I'll try and think about that. So basically what I'm trying to say is that always make sure that the color you're working with is in line with the products. Now we have something we call sanding brown. Sanding brown in design, like the color of sands. So imagine using that kind of design, that kind of color for an hospital website or for a fitness website. You can see it doesn't go well. So always make sure that when you want to design, want to start designing, research on your color. Your color should be based on what your interface is all about. So now to use these design elements right, choose the color that is best suitable for it, like I said. So now if you want to be good with color, you have to make sure that you are very, very familiar. You understand the aspects of the color theory. Hopefully we are still going to get to the color principle. So make sure that you are very acquainted with the color theory, that you learn how to combine colors. You learn the color that is meant to be from a primary color. You learn the one that is like complements it. Always make sure that understand the color wheel, you understand the color scheme. And we have different types of color. We have the primary color, we have the complementary color, we have the secondary color, we have the EU, we have the intermediate, and the rest. So color is like something you have to make sure that you are very good on. You understand that aspect very well, because it's like 80% of your design depends on the color that you use. So if you use like a bad color, it's going to make your design unattractive. So the next one is shape. Next one is shape. Now to draw a shape, that means we have like maybe four lines connected to each other, or for example, like a square, you have four lines connected to each other. So when a line encloses an area, we have a shape. When a line encloses an area, we have a shape. Then ultimately, everything is actually a shape. It's either it is geometric or it is organic. And the geometric part is when we have these our normal shapes, our well-structured shapes like our rectangular, circle, triangles, polygon, um, rhombus, trapezium, and all. We have a well-structured shape. That is our geometric shape. And our organic shape, they are like a curvy when you are the artistic parts, when you are using curvy lines to enclose an area. Where we have our organic shape. And like I said earlier, this can be used when we are trying to draw an element, so we are trying to draw our illustrations. So that's for shape. And looking at this, you can see that that's what we've been working on. We've been working on shapes and lines when we're trying to draw our wireframe. So the fourth one is texture. Now, texture is what you cannot touch. You can feel it. That is, seeing it, you can feel it. So texture is like the quality of visual appearance of a surface. Can add depth and richness with design or creating sense touch. As you already know, looks like. So just by looking at it, you already experience the feeling. So for example, looking at this image here, you can see from this, you'll be able to like feel as it's like one is smoother than the third one. The third one is smoother than the fourth one. So you can see from here that you don't have to touch something before you know the texture. You don't have to touch it before you know the texture. All right, so that's for the texture parts. Then this texture parts, it brings realism and visual value to the objects that are trying to design, because there are times that we want to use a background for an texture to it. So these things, they are very important. There are sometimes that maybe you want to like add an image, or you want to draw a shape. You just want to draw a shape. There's some just to act like, like a switch or so there's sometimes that you have to like work with the texture parts. Then the fifth one, the typography. Then typography is just basically what our font is, like basically our font. So it involves and arrangement of fonts and typefaces. Also, the fonts are parts, and also this typography is very, very important as well. Very important because it plays a crucial role in conveying the information we're trying to pass across. In a product, there's no how we are trying to pass across the information to our users. So by using the bad our interface, or it's going to affect the way our user understands our product or the interface. So it's going to like limit or reduce the interactive aspects. So typography involves the selection and arrangement of fonts. It's basically conveying information and establishing the visual tone. So also a part of when we talked about hierarchy, that hierarchy, it is placing or arranging elements in their order of importance. So when we have a font, or we have a font size that is bigger, and we have heading, we have sub-heading, and we have body text. So looking at heading is going to be like bigger than the rest, you'll be able to know that okay, this particular thing, I'm meant to read it first. I'm meant to read this before going to the rest. So that is for the hierarchy. That is telling the reader where to start from, and after that where to go next. Just to explain to the user what they are meant to do, what they are meant to see. Then You can also choose that by choose. You can also do that by choosing different characters of your text, like talking about the font size, talking about the font color, talking about the font weight, talking about the font height, talking about the line height, the letter spacing, and all. So always make sure that whatever font you are picking, also whatever font you are picking in your design, you have to make research on it, because there are some fonts that are not meant for websites. They are not they don't look good in a website, but they look good for mobile app. There are some fonts that they are not meant for body text. They are only meant for maybe design to draw a logo. So example now, looking at this particular science image, you have different fonts and you have different typography. Now imagine using this also typography for your body text. You can see that it's not going to be readable by your user, because this is not meant to be for body text or for something to pass across an image, an information. It can either be for maybe you want to try and create a logo, or you want to try and just put like something that is not passing across information. Let me just say that if a user wants to read it. So you have to make sure that when you're picking your typography, your fonts, you have to be very, very careful. Pick a font that is readable for your user. Always make research on your design elements. When you want to try design, not start designing any interface. Always make research on design elements. And the next one we have is spacing. Space and more nice, more organized. So now spacing is the area within and around the elements. That is the spaces that are unused, like the areas that are unused. So that is the space. That's what we call spacing. And this spacing, there are two types. You have the positive space and we have the negative space. The positive space is the spacing in the positive space in the space within your elements, is the space within your elements. Like for this, okay, let me try and do something. Let me even use this as an example. Now, the space between this sentence and this sentence, the spacing here, please, can you see my cursor?
Yes, I can see.
It is that space, it is the positive space, and the space here, all the spaces here, they are negative space. So the positive space is the space within the design element, while the negative space is the space surrounding the design element. So at this space, they help us to they help us to like make our interface look more structured and look more organized. So that's for space. So that's basically the design elements that we're going to talk about. Now, looking at this picture, you can see that the spacing here, this is positive, this dark one, and this is the negative space, the one surrounding it, within and outside. So now, what are the design to create a design? To start design an interface, first one is we have to define our user. You have to understand who your user is. That is because we are designing for users. We are working according to what our user wants. So the first one is to define our user. Now, your goal is to provide your user with value and fill a need. So during a UI interface, always keep your users in mind. Always keep your users in mind. Make sure that whatever thing you are working on, whatever thing you are doing, it is based on what your user wants. Based on what your user wants, then you have to consider the interface that they prefer. Means you are going to get to know it from you're going to get to know it from your research. When you're conducting your research with them, you get to know it. So then there's a particular line here that want us to take note of. Don't get caught up in trending design styles. So even though you are thinking like creative, you are thinking creatively, you are having innovative ideas, always make sure that you don't overdo. Don't overdo your design. Use elements that the users are familiar with. Don't go and create your own your own should I say, don't go and overdo your design or over design in a way that is going to distract the users or is going to make the users feel I don't know the English to use now. Like it's going to make the user feel confused. Yes, it's going to like be complicated for the user or confused. So don't get caught up. Even though we are trending every time we're trending, but always make sure that you are minimalist, you are minimal. The design you are using is minimal. Then add tons of features. Don't use unnecessary cluster and strict. Then focusing on your user now will help you to create an interface that is appealing and lead them to what they want. But you're working according to what our users want. The second one is familiar UI patterns. Like I said earlier, don't go and value things. Use patterns that are familiar to the users. But in research, look for templates online, look for templates to work with. Look for others, do competitive analysis. Yes, competitive analysis. Use go through so many products that are similar to yours and see the patterns that they are adapting, like they adapt with. So that by the time you are trying to create your own design, it's not going to you're not going to create something or used or to complicated for the user to use. So always make sure that you're adapting to familiar UI patterns. That is where you have a form field, make sure that it is well labeled that okay, this is a form field. You are meant to input this particular thing here. If it's a button, make sure that it is well labeled and it is well structured. So the next one we have is the third one is effective communication. Like I said, our design is to communicate an information to our user. So think of your interface as if you are conversing with your user, you're having a conversation with your user. So communicating with your user throughout every action provides frequent feedbacks to validate their actions. So make sure that your interface it anticipates user errors, like keeping your user like putting your giving your user giving your user like an alternative way to undo their mistakes, to reverse their mistakes. Then also check boxes that save information if a form is submitted. Then feedback mechanism. So we still get to that feedback mechanism. Then we can like giving them sorry, like giving them um should I say informations that will make their navigation or the interaction with the design that will make it very easy, that make the interface very easy to navigate. Then, for example, when we have our form fields, normally we can have like 5 form fields on the sign up page. So make sure that each form fields are well labeled. You have to tell them what to input in each form fields. So that is for effective communication and feedback. Always make sure that whenever they are performing an action, give them feedback to know if it is successful or if it is not successful. So that's for the effective feedback and communication, because by doing this, it will help us to create a positive experience where users will be confident, satisfied, and reach the end goal, the purpose why they're creating the product. Now, the fourth one is consistency. As with everything we are doing, we have to make sure that we are consistent. Have to make sure we are consistent. The colors we are using from the start should be what you see, and the typography we are using from the start should be what you use to the end. Then users should be comfortable and confident. If they have to perform the same kind of task on this screen, should be the same thing with the way they register on the other screens. Because there are sometimes that we can have like multiple registrations in the website or in the product. So the way they register when they want to sign up into the product should be the same. Maybe in case another situation pops up that they need to register, it should be the same thing like that. So always make sure that you are consistent. The way they perform this particular task in this screen should be like the same thing with the way they will perform in another. screen. So the fifth one is visual hierarchy. That is always make sure your design it is well structured. Everything is not just the same. The typography is not the same. Like an heading should be like sub heading. Sometimes we have subtext, some we have body text and all. So always make sure that you are placing important elements at the first. That is what you need what you need the user to see first. Make it like bold. Make it bold. That is why you add the hierarchy part. Place elements according to their order of importance. So and using this, maintaining this, it reinforces a sense of familiarity as they move through subsequent screens. Sixth one is empower your user. Empower your user. Build up their confidence. You have to make them familiar with your interface. You have to make them familiar with the interface. Reduce the decisions that you want to make. Reduce the information that you're passing to. Don't complicate or don't add too much grammar or don't put into it's going to like as human beings we don't want stressful things. We just human beings don't even like to like always have to think that okay, let me think before I make decisions. They don't want to make too many decisions. So use the decisions that your user have to make. Then also incorporate ways by which it can make them interact with the design, like incorporating short course and then also implementing use of icons. That is, instead of looking for for example a mobile app now, instead of scrolling on the home page to get there to a place profile, you can just input like a nava. You can in your nava, you can input like a user icon that you can just click on and get to their profile. So always incorporate ways to um reduce the way that your user set that your user has to take before they get their to where they want to go. So that is for that. Then also keep it simple. Like I said, always keep your interface simple. Keep your interface simple. Don't overdo things. Don't reinvent the way it is. Reinvent the wheel. Don't come up with that your user are used to normally. So always keep it simple. The color you're using, the design elements you're choosing to use, always make sure that they are very simple. Create a minimal design. So your UI design works best and it's an invisible guide and consider it easy to use. That is, don't make your design. Do not put features that or do not incorporate features that it does not even tally with what you're doing. It's not like very important to put, for example, using okay. For example, using um, which features can I add to this that it doesn't really make sense. I'm trying to come up with like a feature that you can add to a product that doesn't even tally. Um, Hello.
Yes, we are hope. We can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Always make sure that you're adding features. Sorry, I don't even know where I stopped. Always make sure that okay, talking about the feature part. Okay, so always make sure that the features that you're adding, they are like important. The features you're adding, they are very, very important. Imagine putting a playlist in a e-learning website. You understand? Putting a playlist in a e-learning website. So what is the point of the mobile app? So always make sure that the features that you're coming up with, they are like you can defend them. Now, what are these importance of UI design? The first one is that it plays an essential role in company success. That is when you design, when you that they are functional and they're easy to use. It's going to like and how they interact with it. It's to like make the users want to come back, keep using it. They will refer people to it. They will refer people that use this particular app is very nice and using that based on usability. That is that they are increasing the company's growth. They are increasing the company. The company keep getting more profits. So by the time users are already adapting, many people they're using the products, it's easy to use every day, they keep using it. And so the usability rates, it will improve or enhance the company's success. The second one is the in a competitive market, a visually appealing and usually interface can be a key differentiator. That is, as human beings, as users, they are likely to pick an interface that is easy to use for them rather than picking one that is complicated. So because in a competitive market now, we have to make sure that our design stands out based on the functionality, based on the interactive, based on how easy it is, how easy these can navigate through it. So always make sure that your design is. The third one is that if your user lands on your website, your UI actively navigating them to their goal. So your UI design should be well structured or should be conveying a communication or should I say instruction on how they can complete a particular task, on how they can navigate through the website to complete the task or to reach their goal. So the first one is that a time they can decide that your design is nice or not. The tiniest mistake, reaching like even the search button, the search icon, tiniest mistake, it can determine maybe your design is good or you are very, very careful with your design. Always make sure that all the elements you are using, alignments are consistent. You are the typographies, they are like really like people like normally they don't look for they can look for the good parts, but basically most people may look for the bad part. And that bad part can like spoil everything. That tiny part, that tiny mistake, it can spoil everything. The shape of your button, like I said, the shape of your button will predict whether someone can understand how to accomplish that or not. The shape of imagine this is example for you. Whatever element you're using, be careful with it. The alignment should be okay. Everything should be well organized. So that's why I said whenever you are trying to design your interface, all these principles, you have to make sure that you're putting them in place. You have to put on in these principles, aligning the consistency, the spacing, Just make sure that they are very, very putting them, they are considering all the factors. CI design is to contribute to this customer satisfaction because when people find something easy to use, they accept. There's a high probability that will go back interface, includes feedback. When you're asking your when you're asking your users performance, always give the feedback whether it's successful or not. So be responsible for your like and you click the wrong password and it was just stagnant. You just click on register, it was just stagnant. It didn't move forward, it didn't move backward. You're now wondering that what is happening. You know, at least there should be a feedback on the password that okay, you input a wrong password or you input a wrong email address. So always make sure that you are responding to your users' actions. Then the seventh one is that your user interface is often the first point of contact between a user and a digital product because your user interface is what they see first before they will start considering maybe this is functional or effective for them. So that particular your user interface, the interface is going to determine because looking at it, imagine looking at a website and it's just disorganized, the color is not even nice, it's not even looking attractive, it's even going to the user like is going to set it's like going to create a very large setback because me as a person let me use myself as an example. If I go into a website and it's just sat, I won't even bother going I won't even bother because that is something I'm not in that the interface is bad. I won't even move for that. So that's why that is you capture your user's attention, you create a positive first impression. Looking at the website, your user should be very proud. Like they shouldn't be happy that okay, I'm happy with the design because that is what they see first. That is what they see first before they consider the functionality or before they know maybe it's effective. So that's the importance of UI design interface. Now let's go to what is good UI design. Based on what we said, based on what we're talking about, we'll be able to depict what a good UI design is. Firstly, a good UI design they effectively communicates to the user. They have like a clear instructions, they communicate to the user. The user understand what each element they are for, what this particular image is for, what spotting it's for. So and also receive a clear feedback when interacting with the design. Then the second one is that it prioritizes accessibility. That is, your design should be meant for everybody within your target audience. It should not be meant for those with able body, with disabilities also should be able to use your design. Then the third one is that a good UI design it engages users and encourages interaction. That is the interactive aspect, engaging the visual element, the interactive element, the micro interactions. So how they interact with your products generally, it's a good user design, a good UI design. We put that in factor, we put that in place. So it will make the interactions very easy. It will make it very easy to navigate through. Then while functionality is paramount, a good UI design will also pay attention to the aesthetic parts. That is use of color, use of the design element, the white space, the imagery, and all. So just make sure that you have a nice looking or attractive interface. Then the fifth one is that a good UI design is centered around user, what the user needs and what the user prefers, user's preference, the user's needs. Based on the feedback that we got from our research, because both UX design and UI design both the research. So based on that, we were able to have be centered around what our user needs. Then the sixth one is that a UI design is establish a clear visual hierarchy, guiding it's considered a clear visual hierarchy, guiding the user's attention to the most important visual hierarchy. That this hierarchy is very, very important. Even normal when we are writing in school, we have we have subtopics. So don't just make everything jump out together. They don't know where to start from. They don't even know where to go So visual hierarchy is very, very important because it's going to like help navigating through your website. Then this the seventh one is that a good UI design prioritizes intuitive navigation. Intuitive navigation, that's the it's easy for users to find what they're looking for. Clear labels, you label each element, you group your elements, you keep your elements like in a section, you group them together, similar. Like I said, when you have elements that have similar informations, you group everything together. Patterns, familiar icons, familiar way they you like dress search bar. Just use familiar patterns, use things that users are familiar with. So from here, you get me like make it easy for the users. It makes it for users to be able to navigate through your website. So that will comprise of. Then a designer one, a UI designer they create a visually appealing layout elements, layout, graphical design element aligned with brand identity. One is the select the color palettes. While considering accessibility, design while considering accessibility. Third one, choose appropriate fonts and arranging text in the visually actions, feature concepts, the interface. Fifth one, arrange elements, organize elements. Then the sixth one is the design buttons and design interactive element, like our informational components, our informational elements, and our inputs. Elements. So the seventh one is ensure that the interface is responsive, that has to different screen sizes. It's my design on my laptop. The same way I'm interacting with it on my phone. It's interactive prototypes simulating the user interactions. That is when you click on this button, the main screen. When you click on this, it takes the next one is that it conducts usability testing. Conducting usability testing to gather feedback to be able to iterate on the design based on feedback scores. The next one is to collaborate with members design teams. 11, they incorporate. Then the last one is that they keep up to date with industry trends. In this life, we are all trending. We have different every day, keep having different things. So as a UI designer, you have to like keep up to date on things that are trending. Learn about new things, learn about creative ways by which you can design look very nice and attractive. So that is about that UI interface. That is all about that for your interface. Any question? Any question? That's all right. So by tomorrow we are going to tomorrow, like I said, and also our assignments.
No.
assignments I gave last week.
No, I don't even know the person again.
All right, so we'll see tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow my plans like that's what I said actually. That the deadline is tomorrow. Process tomorrow. So like tomorrow we're going to start designing our interface, designing our aero section. Even if it's just aero section based on that time though. Then I'm going to drop a video on how to design a landing page to help us like understand more on how to design a landing page. So I guess that for today. So if you don't have any question, that'll be all for today. So see you tomorrow and all right. So
All right, thank you very much.
tomorrow, please let's submit class. Let's join early.